All right, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you may be. Thank you for standing by, and welcome to today's Tivoli User Community Webcast. Our topic for today is IBM's Application Performance Management, meeting the demands of a 24/7 application world. All phone lines are currently in a listen-only mode, and later there will be a question and answer session with instructions being given at that time. You may ask a question at any time using the chat window located in the control panel. Chat questions will be answered at the end of the presentation with the rest of the Q&A. Today's session is being recorded, and you'll be provided a copy of today's materials following the call. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. Aaron Tobin is an IBM product manager with responsibilities within IBM Middleware's application performance management portfolio. Aaron has over 30 years of experience at IBM, spanning development, management, market management, and product management roles in application development and application performance management software. Since joining IBM's performance management area in 1998, Aaron has worked closely with IBM clients as a market manager and product manager, and is currently focused on IBM's application performance management product portfolio for SaaS, on-premise, and hybrid environments. Aaron, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Sam. And hi, everyone, and thanks for calling in to today's webcast. So the topic for today is application performance management and what it means to meet the demands of a 24/7 world where applications are absolutely critical. What I'd like to do is take you through what is it that we're going to present to customers and to all users in the area of application performance management. But before I do, if we do talk about any futures thing, I just need you to know that those are futures, and they may change, they may evolve into other things, but just need you to know that if we do talk about futures, there's anything that could change. So let's get started. And what I'd like to do is first give you a bit of context, and the context for what we've invested in the world of application performance management and why, and the context in which we find ourselves. So what we have seen over the last few years is that there is a transformation that is taking place, a big transformation. Many people call it a digital transformation. And it's a way that organizations are trying to transform the way that they deliver client experiences, or the way that they operate their processes, or both, with the intent of being able to deliver greater value to their end users, to their customers, to themselves, and also, of course, to be able to differentiate among their competitors and in their industries as well. And with this transformation, it is absolutely clear that applications form the backbone of this transformation. And these applications, they're going to connect data and services from many different sources. And they're going to be able to connect in many different ways, with the ways that you would access an application changed radically from the way it was just 4 or 5 years ago. And then the idea behind all of it is that we want to be able to apply intelligence to all that's going on so that it helps with faster decision making for everyone. And as a result of all of that transformation, it's clear that we need to be able to provide a set of tools or solutions that are going to help you as you go through this transformation. And within IBM, and in the area that APM is part of, Application Performance Management, we're in IBM Middleware, and that is comprised of quite a life cycle of capabilities and solution areas. And so within IBM Middleware, we focus on the design, composition, deployment, management, and optimization of your application environment. And within that framework, I'm going to focus on IT service management, where in our case, IT service management is focused on a really tight integration between performance, which is trying to ensure the optimal performance and availability and experience that your end users would have with your business solutions, with your critical business applications. And within IT service management, it's not just performance is not just the APM, but it's also how are we integrated with operations? How do we give you insights to make better decisions at the operations level? And how are we integrated at the automation level so that you're able to do changes, do deployments, be able to have help desk and control over all of your processes and your environment with lower cost and with less risk than you might have today. And all of that underpinned by how do we apply analytics to, in the case of performance, to make sure that we are applying analytics so that we help you avoid outages, and if there are bottlenecks or performance problems or outages, how do we get to faster problem resolution? So within IT service management, I'm going to focus the rest of this webcast on performance. And specifically, I'm going to talk about IBM APM. So IPM, as I had mentioned, with the transformation that is clearly happening in every industry, within every organization, large and small, what we're seeing is that applications are that key backbone. And so when we say that, a 24/7 application world, that's what I'm really talking about, that those applications are what are driving the value that your end users are getting from what you're providing. And what we're seeing is that applications, the days of monitoring, just OS level or doing infrastructure monitoring, those are over. The focus of applications is mainly how is it impacting your end users, and how do you provide information to those who are responsible for the performance and the availability such that they can understand how their end users are getting value from the applications, what kind of problems, if any, are they encountering, and what is it that you can do in order to be able to restore quickly and make sure that they are getting the value that you want. So for us, IBM's application performance management, we are focused really in three key things that you can easily remember. IBM's APM, it focuses on how do we identify performance issues before they start impacting your end users. And with IBM APM, we're focused on how do we improve the availability of your environments with the improvement that you've made in your application environment and the agility that you want to be able to have to be able to deliver new applications, new capabilities quickly. Our APM is focused on improving availability, and we're focused on how do we get up there to 60–90% increase in availability. We're focused on how do we isolate a problem. So if there is a problem that is occurring, a bottleneck or a performance problem, how do we isolate it so that it is clear where the problem is, and that you don't spend a lot of time with either finger pointing with other groups, but you're focused on, we can isolate and show you here is where this problem is occurring. And as a result, this allows us to help you reduce outages by over 50%. And then once a problem has been isolated, how do we diagnose? How do we help you diagnose and repair this problem so that the service is back up and your end users are able to make use of your applications? And what we're seeing is that with what we're focused on, we are going to help you be able to diagnose problems and restore service 90% faster than if you aren't making use of APM in itself. So for us, the key value is, when you think of IBM's APM, identify performance problems before they're impacting end users. If there is a problem, how do we isolate it? And how do we isolate it so that you know who are the people or the groups who should be involved with the diagnosis and the repair? And then for doing diagnosis and repair, giving you the information that you need to understand what went on, what is going on, and what are the things that you need to look at in order to restore that service. So that's at the highest level. That's the context that I wanted to mention to you about. Here is where APM fits in, what's driving it, and why are we making the investments that we are making in APM as we see this digital transformation taking place worldwide in every industry with every client. So as we move forward from there, I just want to mention to you, when we talk about IBM's APM, what are we thinking of? What are the capabilities that we are thinking of that make up APM? And we are making up these 5 different dimensions so that you can see what we focus on is how do we discover quickly what are the relationships and the components that are being used in the applications, and how do we be able to present that to you in a topology so that you can see for your application environment, here are how the pieces, the components of the applications are interacting with each other. And we're focused, as mentioned, end user experience. So with application performance management, it is clear that focusing on end user experience is absolutely key, and we are focused on that to be able to give you that important view of what's the performance that your end users are getting with your application environments. And if they are having difficulties, pinpointing where those problems are occurring. We also focus on transactions tracking. So your applications are made up of different transaction types. And what we have focused on is how do we show you, as a transaction flows through your application environment, how is it performing? What's the response times between each of the different components or domains? And what we wanted to focus on as well is how do we show you every instance of every transaction so that if you are doing problem resolution, you have that information to show you here's what was happening with this transaction type by this user at this time. So really helping you rapidly diagnose. This is where we've isolated the problem. This is now where we can move on to the next phase, which is diagnostics, which is where we make use of deep dive and resource level monitoring to be able to show you here was what was going on, here are the key metrics, here are the relationships, and here is information that you can use as you are doing the repair so you can get this service back up and running again. And again, all of this underlying with analytics. The idea being behind it that we want to be able to apply analytics so that you are able to reduce outages, because with analytics we're able to determine more clearly and more quickly what are relationships between different metrics and how they're impacting performance. We're able to more easily help you do searches of logs, of metrics, of events, and even of documentation to be able to understand here's what was going on, here is are other people having these kinds of problems, what did they do about it as well. And we want to be able to make sure that all of the data, that the IT-related data that we are collecting and generating is usable by analytics with the express purpose of reducing outages, allowing you to make better decisions at the business level as well as the IT level, and all of this in an environment where there's integration with shared data, common services, and a focus, as I've mentioned, on making sure that the end user's experience, regardless of whether it's mobile-based or whether it's desktop or browser-based, ensuring that they have the experience that you need them to have with your application environment. Also, what's key for us as well is that we want to be able to do this, and we want to be able to do this in a way that as we're seeing clients and organizations adopting cloud, and we want to be able to ensure that the same value that you are getting as you adopt cloud for your applications, that we provide the same thing for the value that you get with the use of APM. So speed, ease of install, ease of upgrades, just quick agility, being able to get information, to be able to use our tools quickly, and to be able to lower your total cost of ownership as well. So with that, that is what IBM's APM is comprised of. And now I'd like to go down to one more layer, and that is IBM's APM portfolio. What we have focused on is that we have seen that the bar has risen, and that monitoring for IT operations is a lot more than just basic infrastructure monitoring, OS, virtualization layer. That it is important because applications are so critical. It is important that monitoring takes place in the context of applications. So for us, we are looking at IBM monitoring. Its basis is its application-aware infrastructure. And so for IT operations, we're focused on how do you have monitoring that gives you that visibility to operating systems, to virtualization layers. But how do we also bring into it what else is important about applications? Well, it's the other components. It is app servers, it's web servers, it's database servers. So we've also seen that it is important for IT ops to be able to understand here's the infrastructure, here's the application component monitoring, and it's also important to understand response times of the applications as they are traveling through the servers in the back ends. So as they go from the systems of engagement through into the to the back ends and then back into the end users. The idea is to be able to provide you with a visibility that covers everything from infrastructure and the applications that it's supporting, the components, and some of the response time from a server point of view that you need to understand. Are you providing an application infrastructure that is meeting the needs of the end users of those applications? And in addition to that, it's also focused on how are we providing analytics as well, so that we're providing the ability to have searches of logs, searches of events that have occurred, searches of metrics, all of it in context of the application or the application server or the environment in which you are doing your monitoring. And so that's the first part of what would be key, what is something that IT operations absolutely should focus on. But what we've also seen is that with applications becoming so key, so important for the transformation and for the value that organizations are getting, lines of businesses or application owners are also looking for, give us information, give us visibility, give us application performance management so that we understand how our applications are helping us meet our business goals. And so what we do with that is we focus at the next adoption layer, IBM Application Performance Management, where we add in end user experience so that you do get that visibility of, from an end user's browser-based application, what kind of performance are they getting? And then you'd be able to make decisions as to how do we tweak these applications, how do we ensure that they're optimized for the end users who are getting value out of your applications. And then we also added into this one is the ability to track the transactions and different transaction types down to the individual instance level for that application. So giving you that view of here's the application, here are the transactions that are running through it, and being able to pinpoint or isolate if there are performance bottlenecks, and be able to do that in a way such that you can see who was impacted, when, what was involved with it as well. And then we also are focused on how do we ensure that earlier in the life cycle of applications that the developers are involved with what it takes to provide application performance management. And so what we provide for them is also infrastructure and application monitoring and the analytics to help make better decisions. But we also provide visibility down to, stack traces, the details of what are a SQL query, being able to even show lines of code that are potentially causing problems as well. And all of this in a unified interface that is meant to be easy to use, focused on who is using the APM tool set and making sure that they can quickly get to the type of information that they need in order to do their jobs, in order to make sure that the environment is up and running as it should be. So as I move on from there, something that I wanted to mention to you as well is that what we focused on is we are looking at how do we provide the broadest application environment coverage. And I just put on the slide just some examples of the over 60 environments that we support. But we are focused on, as the transformation is occurring, when we support both traditional enterprise environments as well as the new environments that are being used in newer applications, cloud-based applications. So with open platforms, with cloud runtimes, with cloud databases, with the types of applications that are key for this environment, as well as for what are the enterprise platforms that many application environments are still supporting and will continue to support for a long time. So we are focused on how do we ensure that we provide the broadest level of support for the environments as this digital transformation is taking place, as applications are shifting and transitioning. And of course, how do we ensure that we always continue to have the most comprehensive coverage of IBM's middleware that you can find in the industry as well. And so as an example of that, we have focused on how do we ensure within our APM, how do we focus on the IBM stack, on WAS, on MQ, on IIB, on use of data power, as well as DB2 and HTTP server. How do we provide you the level of information that you need in being able to manage that environment so that it is ensuring that your application environment is available and performing optimally as expected. So we have focused on the broad application coverage, including the comprehensive IBM middleware coverage. So where are we focused? What are we going to continue to invest in as well? And really there are key areas that we are moving forward in the future for investments. We are clearly focused on, we have adopted cloud, and I will go back, sorry, I just want to mention something that I want to cover more completely. With the IBM APM portfolio, we have a single platform where we are delivering this capability, whether it's as a cloud-based SaaS offering, whether it's something that you deploy on premises in your data centers, or as we are seeing many, many clients, a hybrid, determining where it would be important to be able to get monitoring, for example, APM as a service. Where would it be important to be able to have the APM installed and deployed and configured in an on-premise environment? So we are focused on you have as much flexibility and choice as you want for the deployment of IBM's APM, whether it's SaaS-based, on-premises based, or a hybrid, a combination. And just like it's the way you are creating your applications, you're determining what services that you would use, what cloud-based services you would use to make up your applications, what on-premises components would make up your applications, and how do you combine them together to create new applications and to be able to deploy them quickly, being able to get them out there very quickly for your end users to make use of. So in that same way, that is why we're focused on providing an APM portfolio that gives you that flexibility of where and how you want to be able to deploy APM for your application environment. So we're focused on continuing to simplify that client experience. We are remaking what enterprise IT is for this transformation era, which is the era of cloud and mobile as well as on-premise. It's also focused on if you are making use of IBM's Bluemix environment to build and run and manage your applications. We are there with the same technology, the same abilities to do application performance management in the Bluemix environment as we are with your packaged applications and with the application environments that you are working on and supporting today. We're also focused on how do we continue to apply analytics, best-of-breed analytics, and the visualization of that to be able to give you more information so that you get better business insights so that you can make better business decisions with the IT data that is being generated, collected, optimized by the APM environment as well. And we're also focused on, for your DevOps cycle, like how do you get faster to market? How are you able to be able to get your applications out quickly with a focus on your DevOps activities? How is it that we will be able to provide capabilities that will assist you in being able to accelerate that application cycle with views that are important for people who are responsible for DevOps activities and for being able to ensure that it is part of, here's the APM environment. Of course, it is able to focus on whatever part of an application lifecycle that you need us for. So that's kind of our focus of application performance management directions. So what we've delivered today is a focus on how do we ensure that applications are optimized and performing properly, and with a focus on end users and end user experience. And what we're doing in terms of how are we making our hybrid story come to life. So you'll see on this slide just a graphic of, regardless of whether your applications have components in the cloud, on premises, or whether you're making use of IBM Bluemix for applications as well, our application performance management is a hybrid APM with a hybrid dashboard so that you're able to see, regardless of where the components of your applications are, in a dashboard, here is my application. I am able to manage it regardless of where it is deployed from a tool that handles that with ease and with tight integration. So the other part that I wanted to mention as well is analytics. So integrated into IBM's application performance management portfolio is the ability to do search in context in terms of log analysis. And so you'll be in the APM UI, and I'm going to give you a demo in a couple of minutes just so that we can go through this so you can see what it actually looks like. The idea is you are in the APM dashboards, and you are looking at what's going on in your application environment. You will be able to search in context across all of the IT data, which logs, the metrics, the events that get generated by your applications running, and including documentation and connection to IBM support pages so that you can see if there's a problem that you're having. Has anybody else had it? And what are some of the things that were recommended to them to be able to restore service? So integrated into our APM is this search in context log analysis that really is going to help you understand as you're trying to diagnose what happened, what was going on at the time, who was involved. This is something that is going to give you a deep level of understanding, with the end results being you'll have that much more information to be able to restore a service more quickly, more completely. As well, within analytics, we also have an integration with Predictive Insights. The idea is that they're able to look at all of the metrics, look at all of the IT data and the operational data that is being generated, be able to learn the normal behavior of your application environment, and to be able to generate alerts if there is anomalous behavior. And it's also to be able to predict so much earlier that a problem might be occurring that you'll be able to take advantage of the information that comes out of this to be able to go address it before it starts impacting any end users. And the idea behind this Predictive Insights is that it is using analytics to be able to draw comparisons, and to be able to do correlations among different metrics to be able to say, we see a performance problem occurring. Here are the metrics that seem to be associated with it. And as well, by learning the behavior of your application environment, we're able to dynamically change thresholding and to be able to say, instead of going in and having to figure out, well, what thresholds should I set before I'm alerted to problems, use analytics to be able to dynamically determine what's the proper level of thresholding in order to get the right level of alerting to ensure that you're only being alerted on what's important, what's key, and not all of the excess information that could come out of alerting. So that's some of the key things that we are doing. And what I'm going to do now is I want to give you a brief demo of here is how IBM's application performance management has evolved and what it looks like and the kinds of things that you can do with it. But I'd also like to tell you about IBM ServiceEngage. IBM ServiceEngage is a portal where you will be able to get on and you'll be able to learn about IBM APM and a lot more. You'll be able to see videos. You'll be able to connect with blogs. You'll be able to see what other customers are saying. And you'll be able to see screenshots as well as you're determining what should you focus on, what should you look at. You'll also be able to play with a live demo yourself so that you can get a real sense of the power of IBM's APM. And as well from IBM ServiceEngage, you'll be able to ask for a trial, a free 30-day trial, where you'll be able to use IBM's APM solution against your own data and be able to see how quickly you will get up and running. This is a cloud-based trial, so you will see how quickly you will get ease of deployment, ease of use. And that way you'll be able to have for 30 days the ability to do this in your own environment and to understand the value that you will get from IBM's APM. As well, from this portal, you'll be able to buy, if that's how your organization acquires IBM software, you'll be able to buy the APM portfolio, the components, IBM Monitoring, IBM Application Performance Management, IBM Application Diagnostics, and IBM APM Advanced. And as well, you will be able to see information that is going to allow you to extend. So you remember at the beginning I talked about how performance is part of IBM middleware's IT service management area. And it is a place on ServiceEngage where you'll be able to see, well, how do you extend and integrate very quickly with IBM's event management capabilities, with IBM's service desk and control desk, help desk environment as well. And you'll be able to make sure that you see that the value that you get with IBM is a broad view that covers everything in the area of IT service management and beyond. So please look for IBM ServiceEngage, and you'll be able to take advantage of learning, exploring, trying, buying, and extending what you've got today. So with that, I'm going to move over to a demo environment that I just want to show you. And this is, hopefully the screen is painted. This is IBM's Application Performance Management main dashboard. So I'd mentioned that application performance management, it needs to focus on the needs of IT operations, lines of businesses, application owners, application developers. And the focus has got to be at that application. So when you come into IBM's APM, you are at this display that shows you here's the status of all of my applications, of all the applications that I am interested in monitoring. And as part of this, by the way, you will be able to have, you'll see that we have role-based access control. So what you'll be able to do is you will be able to determine who has access, what is it that they'll be able to see, what value that they'll be able to get out of the IBM's APM. And as a result of that, you will have complete control over who gets to see this information, how they make use of it. But when you first come in, you'll see it shows you, here's the status of my applications. And we focus in different areas. We focus on end users. We focus on the transactions of the application. You can even get down to a component level of show me what components make up this application, and let's see what events or alerts have been generated by this application. Down on the left-hand side is a navigation so that it is very easy for you if you don't want to cascade through the different dashboards. You can click and go directly to an area that you want. But something I'll just show you for now, we see that this application online catalog is experiencing problems and is highlighted as being critical. And so we click on it, and it's going to take us down to the next level. And the next level is focused on showing you end user response time, being able to show you we have discovered the application topology for this application and how they relate and how the different components relate to each other. And so on this screen, on this dashboard, we show you here is the types of how many requests there were for this application, overlaid with what's the response time that is being seen for this application over time. You can see on the right-hand side which events, what alerts were generated for this application, critical, warning, and just normal related ones. You can also see on the right-hand side, here are all of the components that make up this application. So for example, IBM IIB, for the WAS, Web Server Application Server, DB2, an MQ instance, a data power, and running on Linux OS, and making use of HTTP server as well. So, and you also can see down here that we'll show you information about who are the users of this application, both authenticated and non-authenticated. And we can also show you information of who is connected to this application and what are the statistics by OS, whether it's iOS, whether it's Android, Windows, other things like this. But the view is that, notice you come in here and we are focused on what's the response time that people are seeing for this application. And if you want to, and if we want more information on response times, we can click on it and it'll take us down to this next level. And it's going to show us, here is, now with some additional information, it shows us graphically, here are the number of requests and responses, and here is the response time broken out by how much time was on the server, how much time on the client side. And we show you the different app transaction types that are being driven through this application. And what you can do is you can go down and see, I want to be able to see for this transaction type, show me a breakdown of, at the client browser-based application, show me how each of these request transactions is breaking down. And so you can see information related to resolution. So how long does it take for the DNS lookup and any page redirections? How long does it take for a page transfer? You know, the time taken to download the original page and transfer HTTP data. Content loading, the time to download and embedded content, including images, things like that. And then how long did it take for the browser itself to load, to process any load event scripts, things like that as well. So you can get quite a bit of information to help you understand if there is a performance problem for your end users. You can figure out, is it on the server side? Is it on the client side? And what is happening on the client side in terms of what's going on? And being able to see in this one, here's the rendering time breakdown between resolution, load, transfer, and content loading as well. And we're also able to show you individual instances for each of the transactions so that you can see exactly what transactions were run, who was running them, what kind of response times, what kind of problems that they were occurring as well. And so if you go back as well, if we go back up a level as well, I wanted to be able to show you some information about, well, let's look at what's happening on a server that's saying that it has a problem. So if we go to a topology view, for example, I can click on it, and it'll take us to show me the information about that component. And in the case, it was a WAS server, and it shows us the information. It shows us, you know, JVM information. It shows us what applications were running on there. It shows us information about the logs, database connections, and it goes on and on like that. It gives you information about, well, tell me more about what this server is. And it also shows you what were the slowest response time requests that have occurred. And so now, for somebody who is going to understand what they need to do to understand what is going wrong, why are there performance problems in here, that would be a subject matter expert, a developer. They'd be able to click on diagnose, and it takes them to, here are the requests you know, on this server, and you're able to look at things, you know, for example, for this request type, it was a servlet, and they'll be able to look at it, and they'll be able to see, oh, it was made up, this servlet was made up of a JWT call, and they'd be able to click on it and be able to see, well, here was the fully qualified methods and the line of code that we see as potentially got a problem. Here is the contents of the query, and you know, you can hover over it and you can see specific information, but it gives the ability to go from, we were at the highest level just looking at the status of an application, down to being able to look at the context of a stack trace and the context of a request, with just everything in context and everything just providing the level of information that you need in order to get the right people to look at the right dashboards to be able to ensure that they're helping get the service back up running quickly. At the same time, something else I wanted to mention to you is you can also look at what events were generated, what alerting was generated in this application. And you'll be able to see this is the events that were generated, and these would have been also sent up to IBM's event management system as well. But notice that there is one event that is in here that is called an anomaly detected. And that anomaly that is detected is making use of our integration with IBM Operations Analytics Predictive Insights. So it says it found, so Predictive Insights has been running, it has learned your application environment, and it has seen that there is an anomaly that has occurred, and the anomaly is saying this is not normal behavior for your application. And so what you can do is click, and it takes you to the dashboard for Predictive Insights, and it shows you, and in this case, it is showing you that here is what we've observed for this application. The green is saying this is normal behavior for this application, and it is saying, and it highlights in the pink, it is saying we have identified anomalous behavior, and it is having an impact on your response time. And what it has done, it says this is the server on which that response time is having a problem. It shows you what it was expecting for an actual response time value and what it's seeing in reality. And then it also shows you, and by the way, we have done analytics, and we see that there are related metrics that are causing this response time to go the way it is, to be anomalous. And you can show them and have those overlaid on this graph, And so it shows you in this case, it said, here's what it found. It found that there were other metrics, and in this case, it found them on the database server. So not on the WAS server, but on a database server. It found that there were anomalies related to, in this case, pool hit ratio and block writes per second that were causing problems, which was having an impact on the response time that this app server was experiencing. And by having this information, you are able to more quickly understand, diagnose, and restore services as quickly as possible. So with that, I'd like to stop and go back to the presentation and just open it up for questions if we can, because I want to make sure that if you have questions about what's the value that you will be able to get with IBM's APM, that maybe we can address them. So with that, Sam, I am going to open it up for questions.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. If you would like to ask a question, you can do so using the chat window located in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. One question we had come up, Aaron, was, can you explain integrations with other Tivoli products?
Sure. So IBM APM is tightly integrated with event management. So you noticed in the demo, when we are doing monitoring, you're doing monitoring, and if an alert is generated, that alert can be sent up to IBM's event management environment, Omnibus, NOI, and that event will then be looked at that level for root cause analysis and for correlation to make sure that all of the events that are coming in from across the environment are prioritized, put in the right view so that you know to focus on, here's the cause of the problem, go work in this area. It's also focused on that we can provide information to IBM's control desk, so for trouble ticketing, that the IBM APM data can be, as you are automating your trouble ticket system, we can provide information such that it is given for the trouble tickets that get generated, here's the information that somebody would need who's going to become the owner of that trouble ticket. Those are some of the examples of integration that you have now.
Great. Thank you for that. What is the version of the APM offer? Are the dashboards predefined templates?
We provide dashboard templates, but you also have the ability, we ship something where you are able to make use of a component called Dash, and you will be able to create your own dashboard, business service dashboards. You can include in it the dashboard and data that comes from APM as well. But what we do is we do provide out-of-the-box dashboards and templates, reports, and as well for our analytics, we provide, we call them insight packs. So for doing searches, we provide these insight packs that say we know which logs to look at, what support docs to go touch, things like this as well.
Excellent. Any other questions from the audience right now? Sounds like you might have covered the material extremely well. Oh, here we have one right now, actually.
Okay.
Does it integrate with ITM6 and Omnibus?
The integration is absolutely there with Omnibus. Yes, and integration with ITM6. How I'd answer that is you will be able to have the output of ITM-based monitoring agents. You will be able to have that data show up in our dashboards, in the IBM APM dashboard. So you will be able to see with the use of a gateway that you will be able to take information that is being collected by the ITM-based agents, and you will be able to have that displayed and used in our dashboard. And that is an evolving capability. So you will see more and more of that as time goes on.
Excellent. Kind of, I think, a follow-up to that question possibly is Dash provider available to CoreDash?
I am not sure what that is, but I think is what is the question that's being asked. Do we have the ability to have the APM dashboards feed into the CoreDash component? If that is what it is, then the answer is yes. If that
Aaron,
wasn't the question,
they did clarify. They have Dash servers, and there's data connections and data sources.
Oh, and the answer is yes. With the Dash components that we provide, they can be included as you are creating your Dash-based dashboards with the data sources that you have. You will be able to include the APM widgets dashboard as part of that. So, and if I haven't answered that, maybe what we can do is we'll take that as a question that I asked the Dash and UI architects to respond to more fully.
Great. Can you manage applications in the environment developed by other developers, for example, Microsoft and Oracle?
Yes, we have support today for being able to monitor the .NET-based applications, WebLogic-based applications.
Great. Are you able to explain about the failover capabilities of APM?
Not in just a few words. So I wonder if that's one that we should get back as a response, an email response.
Yeah, sure. Yep. We'll make sure that all these questions are provided to Aaron so he can get back to every individual that needs to be gotten back to with all the technical team people he needs as well.
Okay. But I will say, in terms of failover, with the SaaS offering that we provide today, we absolutely have built it and have it deployed in a high availability disaster recovery environment. So if you are making use of our SaaS offering, we absolutely have that in place.
Great. On APM UI 7.7 IF1, I don't have a user administration panel for users, roles, etc. Now, is that available?
So in the APM 7.7, which is part of the Smart Cloud APM product set, if that is not available to you, then I think what we need to do is get somebody who can answer on how you get visibility to it.
Okay. Give it a second here to see if any other questions filter in. Any other questions for Aaron? I think we might have exhausted them, Aaron, so...
we wore them down. Okay.
Indeed. So yeah, if, as we said, anyone that needs more follow-up, we'll be providing all these questions and your information to Aaron and his team so they can follow up with you and get you the information you need. But at this point in time, we have run out of questions. So Aaron, thank you very much for your presentation and demo.
And thank you, everyone, for calling in and getting onto the webcast today. Really appreciate the time with you.
Yep, I echo Aaron's sentiments. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Before you go, we do love to hear your feedback. Please take a few moments to fill out your post-event survey and help us improve on our future events. But this does conclude today's conference, and have a fantastic day.